completing the square for trinomials. This is the basis of the quadratic formula, where all this stuff comes from. So all we're going to focus on now is adding the proper constant to a binomial so that your result is a perfect square. Because then we could turn into factoring and all that stuff. So to complete the square, we have to find the missing constant. And this is the rule that we're doing. We're taking our b value, dividing it by 2, squaring it, and that's going to give us our c. And that's going to directly lead to our factors. So a quadratic function is written as ax squared plus bx plus c. So our a is 1, because it's a 1m squared. Our b is negative 6, because the negative 6 is in front of our middle term. So the rule is we're going to take our b value, we're going to divide it by 2, and then we're going to square it. Our b is negative 6. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Squared is 9. So this right here, 9, needs to be the constant. That's the key. And that's it. You're supposed to, the directions say add the proper constant. So you add 9 and you're done. I'm going to explain to you why this works. So you have m squared minus 6m plus 9. That is a perfect square trinomial. So here's how we do it. We're looking, if we're going to factor this now, we're looking for numbers that are going to multiply to give us 9 and add to give us the negative 6. If this is going to be a perfect square, we need to use the same numbers. So whatever we put here and here has to be the same. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. So they have to be 3's. And if our middle term is negative, these are going to have to be negative. So the check, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. That you could also write as negative 3 squared is 9. And then if we add those, negative 3 plus negative 3, that's negative 6. So we could write that as negative 3 times 2. This is where the b minus 2 comes from. So if we look here, we're taking our b. Our b originally was negative 6. If we divide that by 2, that's where the negative 3 comes from. So this is why this process actually works. Negative 6 divided by 2 is going to give us the number that's going to be part of our factor. It's going to be one of our factor terms. And that's why when you factor it, you have the m minus 3. So we'll do another example using the rule. So same thing, we have a trinomial. We're looking for the constant to add. So in this case, again, we're looking for a number, don't know what that is, that we're going to square, and then 2 times whatever that number is has to give us b, or in this case, 5. So to find that number, we're doing 5 divided by 2. That's your rule. So b divided by 2 squared, b is 5. I would not use decimals. There's no reason to do that. 5 over 2 squared is 25 over 4. 5 squared, 2 squared. So that is your constant. So if you add 25 over 4, that is now a perfect square. So we found our constant. We found our perfect square trinomial. And then if you wanted to take it one step further, the way we would write this as a factor, in factored form, is we're going to have x plus 5/2. So all of this is connected. So the 5/2 times 2 gives us the 5, and the 5/2 squared is what gave us that 25 over 4. So in a nutshell, that's how you complete a square for trinomials. Even numbers are going to give you integers, and when you have odd numbers, you should probably write those as fractions.